Public comment?
None, Mayor.
All right, we'll go ahead and move to closed session.
At least that's funny people sing happy birthday.
All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
If I can have everyone silence, please. Thank you so much. Councilmember, oh, excuse me. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Furman,
Present.
Councilmember Holmes,
Present.
Councilmember Miller,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramos Amit,
Present.
and Mayor Ortiz.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a invocation from Garden Fellowship Church. Right, thank you, Pastor.
Jesus, thank you so much, God, for the privilege that we have, Lord, in this country of a government that serves the people and cares for them as the City of Indio Council does. God, I ask that you give them wisdom and insight, God, as they help lead this amazing city to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Today, we have Luis Gonzalez from Roosevelt Elementary School. Luis Gonzalez is a proud Roosevelt Ram, loves playing soccer, and is part of the Indio AYSO team along with CYSASL team in Coachella. Luis keeps himself busy with after-school activities such as math field day, folklorico, archery, and any available activity that he can get experience from. Luis loves being with his family and is extremely helpful to his siblings with homework. Luis is one of the best Rams. Thank you, Luis, for joining us. Appreciate it. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty with justice and all.
Yeah, backpack. Okay, and we got a backpack for you here. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Go ahead, come over here. A little picture. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. City Attorney, do we have any report on closed session?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have no items to report out of closed session this evening.
All right, and next we'll do the rotation of mayor and mayor pro tem. At the City of Indio, we switch mayors every year, so we have a rotation. And so this year we'll be handing it over to Ms. Lupe Ramos Amit. And if you join me down there, we'll do the rotation. All right. So this is, I was talking to Ms. Ramos Amit earlier. This is her 20th, this is going to be her 20th year on council, 5th time as our mayor. So I really want to thank her for her commitment to our community. 20 years is a really long time to be in public service, and she's done so many great things for us, and we look forward to another year of your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ortiz. You hear that, kids? 20 years. That means it's longer than you've been alive. It's my pleasure and my privilege to serve the community of Indio. As I've mentioned many times before, I've seen this community grow from less than 10,000 residents to almost 100,000 residents, and I'm really proud of everything that we've been able to accomplish, so thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and hand over the gavel. Congratulations.
She knows how to do it.
get to speak first. This is a tradition here in Indio for each outgoing mayor as a thank you for your service to the residents of Indio, and a thank you from your council members for leading us through the ups and downs of what comes to City Council every year. We'd like to present to you this momentum. It's a gavel. If you'd open up and take a peek, it's beautiful. I've never seen one like this. It's gorgeous. It looks like cherry wood. I'm not sure who did it. Very nice gavel, but thank you, Mayor Ortiz, for your year of service.
Are we rotating? Not yet. We get to roast you first.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I know. When do we change?
Right after.
What's that noise?
All right, and then we have comments from council. Ms. Holmes, would you like to go ahead?
Just a few words, Mayor Ortiz, well, outgoing Mayor Ortiz, what a year you have brought us through. There have been so many monumental things. IID comes to mind, so many things that you've tackled easily, and we have, you have really taken this council to the next level, and I appreciate the year, the effort that you have put forth, and the heart that you put forth as well, and thank you very much for your year as mayor.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks. Mr. Furman?
All right, Mayor Ortiz, or so we say again, outgoing mayor, thank you for your time and your service to our community, your sacrifice. In the 5 years we've known each other, I come to understand that you have an immense love for your community and you want to do better. You have been a champion, and I'm looking forward to continue to working with you, and as well as the rest of this council. Council member, Mayor Pro Tem, you know, Amit said that she watched this city grow from 10,000 people to close to 100,000 people, and it starts with the community, and we represent the community, and you've done a great job of doing that. Keep listening, and keep learning, and keep doing the people's work, and congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Oscar, I just want to say thank you for a great year. I mean, a very nice young man that continues to support his community. Your love for the community is obvious, but thank you for your leadership, and it comes from the council, you know, but we have a great staff. We have a great police department. We're very fortunate to have a great community, and because of all of you, you make our job so much easier to be able to continue to support our community, but it really is our staff that really leads us. So thank you to all of you for what you do, and Oscar, thank you for leading us. A lot of great momentum that's already been started, and Lupe on her 5th term as mayor is going to continue that support. So the city is growing under your leadership and going to continue to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I'll pick up on the key word he said, young man. Because 1 year ago, I thought to myself, what is this young man going to do? How is he going to lead us this next year? How is he going to be a mayor? Oh my goodness, it didn't take you long to jump into those shoes, because you proved us in the first 30 days that you were well equipped and more than ready to be the mayor of this city. And you've been very involved and very active in almost everything that we've had going on, and it takes a lot of effort for someone to be able to do that, especially when you have your own personal life and your own business, and to still give of yourself to this community is really commendable. So I want to thank you for everything that you've done. You've done an excellent job. You've proven to me that a young man can do it, because you surely did it. Thank you.
Thank you, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank our community as well for their support. You know, everybody that's helped me in giving me advice through this process, especially our council here. All the advice I've gotten from them, our city manager, city attorney, chief of police, all of our staff. You know, I always tell everybody, our staff makes us look good because we go out there and we get all the credit, but our staff's really the ones that are pulling the weight here on the day-to-day basis. So really appreciate all the support from our community, our YAC team as well. Really appreciate you guys showing up to all of our events all the time. And yeah, it's been a great year. I really appreciate the opportunity to lead this city for a year, and I look forward to continue working here with all of you. So thank you again. Appreciate it. Now we're going to take a 10-minute recess to celebrate a little bit. It's also the mayor's birthday today, so let's congratulate her real quick. So we're going to take a little 10-minute break, and we'll be right back. Thanks.
I just wanted to get this out of Glenn's way. This is really pretty. I like this.
Yeah, it is nice.
I've never seen one like this. Really nice.
Very nice.
I just want to shake your hand. I'll shake yours too. He's too far. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
See ya.
Thank you. See you around.
Okay?
Okay.
Come to Indio to help find a solution to IID.
Oh, yeah, there's yeah. How are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, we should take it over. That's the solution.
You do it. Because they don't need to stay here in order.
That's what you want to grab you. Is it just a...
Yeah, no, you do that. One representative. Thank you.
I'm going to the end. They're kicking me out.
End of the line. End of the line.
Got it? I'm taking my candy back, though. You're going to have a lane now, so if she bothers you, let me know. It is an ordeal moving, isn't it?
I know. Gotta get your monitor the way you want it.
I'll move it first so you don't forget it.
Thank you.
Sorry.
What is it?
You go second.
That's all right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I heard your husband has something with Hebrew.
My husband is Israeli.
Israeli.
Yes.
I'm Israeli.
Wow.
I'd like to meet him.
So you came to this country when?
To California,
No, to the United States.
2015.
Ah. Give some to the kids.
Yes.
2015. How do you like it?
So I came to Brooklyn, New York.
Uh-huh.
But here it's much better.
Yeah, much better. My husband did the same thing. He went to New York, and then he came here, and this is where he stayed.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Thank
Your
you.
birthday and a new position,
Thank you.
which you were in this position
Yeah, 5 times.
5 times. And now it's totally new level.
We have a couple of cupcakes down here. If anybody wants to grab a cupcake,
Strength to strength.
you guys are welcome to get one.
Same level.
There we go.
It's always challenging, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. Very nice. So regards to your husband, if he needs someone to practice his Hebrew again,
Oh, he calls his cousins every day. He
Oh, yeah?
speaks
Okay.
Hebrew.
but I'm
quite a
here.
bit. Okay.
I have fluent Hebrew.
right, if everyone would sit down and or quiet down a little bit, we're going to get back started with our meeting.
Boss of town now, y'all ready to sit down?
We're going to call the meeting to order and have roll call by our city clerk.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Present.
Councilmember Furman.
Present.
Councilmember Holmes.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller.
Present.
And Mayor Ramos Amit.
Present. Thank you, city clerk. We'll move on to item number 8, Youth Advisory Council. Do we have a report this evening?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bella Cancino, and I'm a senior attending Indio High School. To start off my report, the Firebird tickets are still on sale for the December 16th game, so if you haven't purchased your ticket yet, please help and support YAC. Over Thanksgiving break, some of us volunteered at the Fine Food Bank Thanksgiving distribution on November 22nd, and it was a great opportunity to give back to our community this Thanksgiving. We are also participating in the Friday Night Live blanket drive. You have until December 8th to drop off your donation at the Indio Teen Center or at the City Hall. We also attended the tree lighting ceremony last Friday, and we had a great time, and it was really great to see the whole community together. And lastly, we would like to thank you for including YAC at the Tamale Festival kickoff. Our YAC mayor had the opportunity to join Mayor Ortiz on stage and enjoy a tasty tamale. Thank you, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cancino, and thank you to the Youth Advisory Council for being with us this evening. Before I go any further, I want to thank staff and everyone who brought me these flowers for my birthday. It was very kind of you. I appreciate it very much. They're lovely. I didn't want to forget, and thank you all for that. So moving on to item number 9, City Manager Reports and Information.
Thank you, Mayor, and happy birthday. Just a huge thank you to the community for the success of 2 events this past week that I'm sure the council members will touch on, but the tree lighting is a part of our Food Truck Fridays, nearly 3,000 people there, and then the Tamale Festival at Miles Avenue Park, we had over 50,000 people show up over the weekend, so a huge success. The library, you see the demolition starting, is a little bit of an inconvenience to get in and out of here as that's going forward. The temporary library location will be on Oasis, and it will open on January 2nd. The county that operates the library system will be getting word out and so forth about the new temporary location and providing those services while the new library is being built. Also, Mayor, with your permission, knowing that there are many parents and children here to discuss an item under public comment that will be much later on the agenda, I spoke with Angel representing AYSO. If I could see just 3 minutes of my time to Angel, he might be able to express and articulate all of the concerns of those that are present. So rather than have them wait what might be a couple of hours to speak, if that's okay, Mayor, if I could cede my time to Angel, if you'd like to take a few minutes of my time to explain the concern. We are aware of this in the past. I think the council's heard some of the concerns relative to the use and the scheduling of the fields that is handled by the Desert Recreation District and the fees imposed by the Desert Recreation Board. So as I met with Angel just briefly here, reminded him of the fact that that board is the entity that sets these fees. I'd be happy to meet with him and the DRD officials, Jim Curtis, and see if we can't talk through a better understanding of how those fees came about. They were not set by you, as you well know, and I just reiterate that to Angel. But at least he could represent the group today, so they don't have to wait here a couple of hours. And maybe after he's done, those that would like to raise their hand, if they're in agreement with what he has to say, that voices the concern to the City Council. So, Angel, I'll give you 3 minutes of my time.
Welcome, Angel.
Hi, good afternoon, City Council members. I just wanted to come back to you guys and give you an update on the last time I was here. We were instructed, or gave us instruction, AYSO and DRD, to meet and try to work the fees. So I wanted to give you an update on that meeting. We met on October 19th to talk about those fees like you recommended. On that meeting, DRD was asking about practice schedules, game schedules. If I could come up with a schedule for everybody to practice and set a space. This is a volunteer program. Parents and coaches, everybody's a volunteer. No one gets paid over here. I'm not gonna start dictating what days they should practice or what areas they should practice. It's the way we run it for years. It's first come, first serve. So we share the space, and it's this year we have almost 1,000 kids. It became crowded, but we work it out. As a coaches and volunteers, we work it out, and we find enough space for everybody to practice. I told them I was not gonna do that. They mentioned they don't want to do this umbrella coverage. My understanding is that we submit an application, they file it, and we set the dates, and we reserve the fields. So they don't want to do that either. So they started asking about different stuff. I remind them that I was there at that meeting to talk about fees. They said the fees were not going to change. So at that point, I said, then there's nothing else that we need to talk about. Let me see. Let me see. I lost myself.
Remind them how it started.
They mentioned that that was I wasn't gonna change. I have a problem with this because all of our coaches are volunteers, and I'm not gonna start dictating what they did practice. What is the intention of them to try to micromanage or try to what are they trying to do? Try to manage or planning. That park is being utilized 6-7 days a week. I asked him a couple of, I asked a couple of you for explanation if they could help me with find out what those charges are, because it's almost a $15,000 charge on the spring season. I asked DRD. He was here when we asked him. I haven't got a response. A response of what exactly those fees cover. They said, someone has to process an application. Okay. My question is, they're not responsible for the maintenance. The city still pays for the maintenance, the electricity. So what is that money going to? Again, no response yet. I told the RD that the reason I was meeting, so I left. I would like to ask you, what is the purpose of DRD? I know it's to manage the planning and utilize the parks to the best they can. But there's, South Jackson Park does not need their planning. We don't need them to come in and try to bring more people. That means the park is already crowded as it is with 1,000 kids. We have a little, like 101 teams. So we don't need to bring more staff, more people into parking. It's a joke. I mean, it's not enough parking. So we don't need to bring more groups or more or other organizations. I would like to ask you, what is the purpose of this, the agreement for South Jackson? What are they trying to do for that community? What would they do for that community? What would they improve the use of the park if it's being already used 100%? There are plenty of other parks that they can focus on improving in the planning. The last council meeting, you mentioned that you did not want to set a precedent and favor one organization, but why not? Is there any other organization in the valley as big as us that can do what we do? Is there another organization that can run a soccer program as big as ours with 100% volunteers? No one gets paid over here. There is none. There's no other organization in the valley. So why do this to us? Do it for the kids. Do it for the community. You talk about improving the way of life in Indio. Let's improve this program, make it grow, and be available for more kids. Having DRD benefit from a true non-profit organization is not the solution. To me, it feels like they're trying to mess with the community program that has been established for 32 years, and it started right here when we came and asked for the parks and the space. We are a true non-profit organization. As you know, other sports like baseball, football, they pay their officials. We don't pay or we don't get paid. Our volunteers go to the training for referees, take the classes, and they get certified, and they referee our own programs or our games. Our program is also the pathway for high school soccer. A lot of our players, they play high school right now. They're playing high school right now, and they're talented players. Once they're done with high school, they come back to AYSO to play the spring, which is the season that will be affected by DRD with those charges. And now they're going to come back and we're going to tell them, hey, by the way, the fees are going to go up because we have to pay for the park now. And we got to, we're being charged for the fields. It's not fair for them. I would say it's not fair for anybody. What do you think? What are your thoughts? So please, I urge you to consider or request, stand up for the community, stand up for these kids. And by the city, use your authority and let us keep providing this service to the community and the kids by running this program. We keep the kids off the street. We provide a service to you by keeping them off the street and off the gangs and staying in sports. We are community leaders. This gentleman, this is a small portion of our volunteers, community leaders, that will continue to push on this until we get what's right and what's right for the kids in the community. We're not going to stop. We come to you for support and for you to do the right thing. Please, leave the politics on the side. Help us out, like I mentioned. To some of you, we want to be reasonable and talk to you guys, but don't want to bring this, any bad publicity to you guys.
Perfect. And Mayor, as the questions that he just asked, it's not agendized for discussion tonight, but I think it is important for staff to meet not only with them, but with the DRD officials before anything is agendized back to here to get a little more detail. As you well know, there's a fee study required for any fee that we charge as a city. So for these fees that the Desert Recreation District is charging, there has to be a fee study that documents how they got to that fee. So we can get to the bottom of this and get that detail for Angel and those here present so they can better understand. But the fact of a no fee is pretty uncommon out there. So if it's a question of how to make the fee fit better with what the usage is, I think DRD would be willing to do that. But again, you about a year ago seeded that because they are the recreation provider in the area. It is their board that would set those fees. It's not this city council. And I think Angel's aware of that, and I hope the folks present are aware of that this isn't a matter before you, and perhaps a group like this needs to visit with DRD about their fees as a suggestion. So with that, I assume there are a large majority of you here today that agree with what Angel had to say. And with that, they wouldn't necessarily have to stay and each say the same comments. Anything else just to wrap up, Angel?
I just want to remind you that we weren't given the opportunity to speak up before you guys signed that agreement. No one contacted us. I have emails proving that. So we were denied the opportunity to come in and speak up and possibly being excluded, like AYSO Cat City did with Desert Rec. So just keep that in mind. We weren't given that opportunity. And just wanted to show you, this is the uniform for the spring season, the one that they're trying to charge us. If you look in the back of our jerseys, or uniforms for every single kid, when we go out to tournaments in LA area, Arizona, Nevada, one team went to Hawaii, this is what they go represent. They take the name of Indio, proud, and these kids are talented. When you see medals, you see trophies, a lot of teams, when we get to those areas, those tournaments, as soon as they see the royal blue and the Indio, they're afraid because our teams bring the talent and they bring the medals. So please consider it.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, City Manager, for offering to bring the groups together to have a productive discussion. As City Manager mentioned, we're not going to get to public comment for a couple of hours. So if you agree with what Mr. Angel represented this evening, you're free to go ahead and go home at this time. Or if you want to stay till the end of the meeting and have your public comment, I'll remind you that we limit public comment to 30 minutes. So only 10 individuals will have the opportunity to speak. And I have other individuals wanting to speak on other items separate from this item. Also, when we entered the agreement with DRD, City Manager, it needs to be impressed upon the organization that it's not just this park.
That's right.
It's the city services that service the 100,000 people in this community. So it's very hard for me to dissect one part of the agreement and have a conversation around it. And if you can facilitate the conversation, it would be much more productive for
That's a great point. This is a much broader arrangement than just one localized park. But maybe, Mayor, just a couple of minutes. We want to take a brief pause for those that may want to leave at this juncture.
Okay, so of those that have submitted requests to speak, if you want to go ahead and leave, you can go ahead and leave now. But if 10 of you want to stay back and speak in a couple hours, that's fine too. But only 10 people will be allowed to speak. And I have people that want to speak on other items separate from AYSO, so I'll be calling them up first. So again, 10 or less people will be allowed to speak this evening.
So that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. We'll move on to item number 10, report on City Council external internal boards and commissions. We'll start with our outgoing mayor. Would you like to give a report this evening?
Sure thing, Mayor. This week I attended the CVAG Executive Committee. We approved the construction contract for phases 3, 4, and 5 for CV Link at $30 million. We also got an update on the art and music line, which is 65% complete on the planning phase and is expected to begin construction in 2025. We also accepted the $50 million for the bridge for Indian Canyon Drive. So this is a road that is frequently closed to sandstorms and flooding, which affects a lot of the workforce traveling between DHS and Palm Springs, and also affects access to Desert Regional Hospital. I also want to thank Jim Curtis, Tony Romero, and the rest of our team that helped out with the tree lighting ceremony. We all had a lot of fun watching the local choirs and the kids, and they had a great time playing in the snow and playing with the snow machine too. And also thank you to our YAC team who showed up to help us as well. Thank you. I also wanted to thank Jim Curtis, CUSP Agency, and the rest of our partners at Tamale Festival for a great festival, and thank you to all of our team of police and staff that helped organize and keep everyone safe at the festival. Today we also had the unveiling of the mural under the Jackson Bridge. We had 2 artists from Detroit that were here for a month painting the bridge, and they've been doing a great job. We saw some great feedback from our community, so we want to thank them for all their hard work. That's all I have, Mayor. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Ortiz. Councilmember Furman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I didn't have any board meetings. However, I did have one Coachella Valley Electric Committee meeting today, and I didn't have time to get my notes done because I was at the mural unveiling, which is great. A lot of you have seen it. It's under our Jackson Bridge here. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out tomorrow. It's really fascinating, something new to our community, and so that was pretty good to see that go. I also attended the tree lighting ceremony here downtown, and just thank you to everyone who had a hand in getting that done. It was great. Santa Claus came. Kids got to take pictures. They had snow out there that Mr. Jim Curtis arranged to get out there, so the kids had a ball along with the food trucks. And I had to thank our city manager again for getting us a new tree a couple years ago. We were very excited about that. And if you notice the construction going on outside, our old tree is gone. So there's a lot of changes going on downtown. I also attended the International Tamale Festival. And I have to say, I'm going to have to learn. I got scolded a couple of times because I kept calling it Tamale Festival, and it's Tamal, okay? And I'm sorry, but we'll work on that in the future. However, it was a great event. I met a lot of folks from as close as Los Angeles to Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, and some folks just got on the plane just to come to Indio for the Tamale Festival. And some, I got to see the pro wrestling, the lowrider cars, lots of food options, including alligator bikes. But most importantly, the tamales were there. I want to send a shout out to Casa de Silvia and Outside the Masa, our local vendors who took home the honors. And I just want to express my appreciation to our city staff, our first responders who were there, Jim Curtis, who's always doing an excellent job for our city, CUSP Agency. And if I forgot anyone, just thank you for organizing such a great event. And we're looking forward to next year's event and continue to make it bigger and better. And that will complete my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Furman. Councilmember Holmes.
Probably going to have a similar thread through all of this. Yes, the Tamale Festival I thought was outstanding this year. It gets better and better every year, just the way it was set up. It was great to see all the people. It was great to have it at Miles Avenue Park. I think it was really a tremendous, perfect weather, Chamber of Commerce weather. Really think it was just a fantastic event over a perfect weekend. So thank you. As Councilmember Furman just discussed and went through the list of people to thank. It took a huge amount of people and a huge effort to pull this off, and it was hugely successful. So thank you to everyone. The tree lighting's always been one of my favorite things, and I think this year we knocked it out of the park. Having the snow, having the food trucks. I mean, there were just so many people there having a good time. We had the carolers, we had the kids, we had Santa Claus. I think it was an outstanding evening. Thank you a million times to staff and everyone involved with putting that together. It is how it should be. It was a really wonderful evening, and particularly for the kids. It was great to see the kids. I also attended, along with Councilmember Ortiz. He gave the Transportation Commission meeting, and he gave a great synopsis on that. Along with Mayor Pro Tem, I got to get used to that, Mayor Pro Tem Miller. We attended the ribbon cutting of the new Circle K facility and property up in North Indio on Jefferson and Varner. So it's a busy season. It's a busy time of year. It's a very exciting time of year. And thank you to everybody that has had their hands into making this a very exciting time for the city of Indio. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Holmes. Mayor Pro Tem Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had one committee that was active, which is Sunline Transit Agency. We were discussing our audit for this year, which was a clean audit for the agency itself. We have a lot of federal money and other money coming in, so we are very cautious about what we do. But also, we'll be doing a new route starting January 7th. So anybody that does take the bus, please look at the new schedule for the bus routes. They are going to do a little bit of time heads where some of our main routes, like on 1, which is route that goes through Highway 111 from Coachella all the way to Palm Springs, is going to have some less times on it, so 15 minutes instead of 20, and some other routes to the schools, up to the high schools and that. So please look at that. It will be changing on the 7th, and as always, Sunline is looking for people that might want to work for them, bus drivers and other opportunities. So please, if you're looking for a job or know anybody that does, Sunline is at sunline.org and be looking for some work there. As everyone else said, our Tamale Festival, our Barbecue Festival, the lights, if you haven't seen the magic of lights over at the Polo Ground, amazing opportunity to take your family out. The City of Indio staff, along with our multiple partners, have continued to bring events to the City of Festivals, and we thank all of them for their hard work. And other than that, the Circle K opening, a lot of new businesses are going to be opening here. Handel's Ice Cream and so many others. Please continue to shop in Indio. And for all of you, Merry Christmas, and hope you have a great holiday season. Madam Mayor, that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I don't have any reports to give this evening on committees, but there is one thing I forgot to mention when I received the gavel from former Mayor Ortiz. Previously, I had made a public announcement that I would not run again, but life changes have happened, and so I will be running again for a 5th term. And I just wanted to let my colleagues know that I'm committed here to help you through another phase of growth. And with that, I know comes challenges, but I'm here to support you, and I'm here to support our staff. So thank you for allowing me that opportunity. Yes.
If I can, I forgot one thing that's very, very important, and you could probably speak to this. This is off the press, and I have to share this. The city just received news that we will be getting a bridge on Avenue 44 for that low crossing. Together with our federal partners, our local and city funding, we've gotten enough funds to get that bridge done. And we know over the years that has been an issue with that bridge getting washed out, most recently with Hurricane Hillary. And so that's good news. And so I also want to thank our city staff and specifically Tim Wassel and his crew for being shovel ready, because when these funds come available, the city has to be in a position to move fast. And we're moving fast, as you can see what it looks like downtown. So along with downtown, we're also getting a new bridge on that side of the city. So I just wanted to share that.
Say Avenue 44.
Avenue 44 low crossing. It's going to be a bridge, though.
Thank you, Council Member. Yes, that is exciting news for many of us that have suffered having to drive through there and finding that bridge down. Moving on to item number 11, appointments. Each year we have mayoral appointments to external, internal committees, commissions, and boards. After reviewing the previous appointments and speaking with my colleagues, we've decided that we're really not going to make any change other than one change requested by Council Member Ortiz. He's asked to be removed from the Coachella Valley Mountains Conservancy, so I will be taking his place on that board. And just one minor correction on the IID Advisory Board. The two representatives for the city are Ray Trujillo and Pete Chris. Now, I know that advisory board requires a vote. Do we have to re-vote them in, Sabdi, or were they voted in when they were appointed?
They were already voted in.
All right, so those are the only changes. Other than that, we're all going to continue on our committees, and I want to thank my colleagues for all the great work that they've been doing on each of their committees. Item number 12. Someone disappeared. Oh, there she is. I could barely see her, Miss Cancino. Would you like to be excused at this time? Yes. Well, thank you for being here. We enjoy having you. We enjoyed your report. Have a pleasant evening. Okay, now moving on to item number 13, consent calendar. We have 13 items on consent. Are there any requests to pull an item or any recusals or any staff reports needed?
If there's no request, I move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second. Mayor, one second. We do have a staff request to pull, is it item 13.7? 13.7 from the consent calendar.
Pull it off calendar?
Pull it off calendar.
Yeah, it'll be on a future meeting.
All right. So it's, do you want to amend your motion, council member?
I'll amend that motion approving the consent calendar with the exception of 13.7.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion by council member Furman and a second by council member Ortiz to move forward the consent calendar absent item 13.7. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Oh, we're doing roll call. We're doing machine vote. Okay. Machine vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our public hearings. We have two items this evening. The first one would be item 14.1, resolution numbers 10405, 10406, 10407, 10409, and ordinance number 1802 of the City of Council of the City of Indio, California, conditionally approving the general plan amendment, zoning text amendment, tentative parcel map number 38632, and the planning review for the development of a multi-tenant commercial retail center comprising of 13,620 square feet on 6.12 acres of vacant land located along Avenue 42 in Jackson. The APNs are listed in the agenda, and certifying the project's final initial study with mitigated negative declaration and finding that the negative mitigated declaration is in compliance with section 15074 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines. Mr. Snyder.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Mayor, congratulations and happy birthday. We look forward to working with you this year. This evening, Kendra Reeve, Principal Planner, who's been the staff lead for this project, will be making a presentation, and I'll be assisting her as needed to answer any questions. So with no further ado, I will turn it over to Kendra. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. Tonight, as Kevin mentioned, I'm going to be presenting the Greens at Indio project. On February 7th, 2023, Can-Do LLC submitted an application to the Community Development Department proposing the development of a new multi-tenant commercial retail center containing 3 quick-serve restaurants and 1 sit-down restaurant on 13,620 square feet of 6.12 acres of vacant land, which is located along Avenue 42 and Jackson Street.
The project application includes a general plan amendment, zoning text amendment, tentative parcel map, and planning review with associated environmental documentation. The proposed project also includes surface parking, landscaping, and off-site right-of-way improvements along Avenue 42 and Jackson Street. The project proposes the construction of a multi-tenant commercial retail center totaling 13,620 square feet. Specifically, the project would include 3 drive-through fast food restaurants, including a Chick-fil-A and Dutch Bros Coffee. The third drive-through fast food restaurant tenant has not been identified at this time. The 3 drive-through fast food restaurant buildings total 9,870 square feet. The project also proposes the construction of 1 3,996 square foot sit-down restaurant. The sit-down restaurant design includes an outdoor patio which opens out onto the adjacent Indio Municipal Golf Course. Additionally, the project would include surface parking, landscaping, and off-site infrastructure improvements. In addition to the commercial retail development, the proposed project includes the reconstruction of the existing Indio Municipal Golf Course's parking lot, which is located east of the driveway along the project site frontage on Avenue 42. The proposed amendment will be changing existing parcels from parks and open space to regional commercial. The surrounding parcels have a general plan land use designation of regional commercial. The proposed project will be constructing 1 sit-down restaurant and 3 drive-thrus, which would be consistent with the amended regional commercial land use designation. The project site would be changed from open space to regional commercial in its zoning to complement the change in general plan amendment. The regional commercial zoning designation complements the regional commercial general plan land use designation. The applicant will be developing 4 buildings on the project site. The proposed buildings are designed in a contemporary style. Building 1 is located at the northwest corner of the project site. At the time of publication of the staff report, Building 1 does not have an identified end user and will be developed utilizing a neutral color palette. Building 2 is the proposed sit-down restaurant with patio and will be located at the northeastern portion of the project site. The proposed building would be constructed utilizing stone veneer, Coronado ledgestone, bronze aluminum, and various shades of tan plaster. The proposed building would have large glass windows that span across the eastern side of the project and would have openings onto the Indio Municipal Golf Course. Building 3 will be a Chick-fil-A. The proposed color palette of Building 3 consists of neutral colors with different variations of tan, brown, and white, along with Chick-fil-A red. Building 4 will be a Dutch Bros Coffee. The color palette for Building 4 will be 2 different shades of gray with navy blue accents. Max height of all buildings will be 22 feet at top of parapet. As the project is proposed, it's required to have a minimum of 115 parking spaces. The proposed project includes 240 parking spaces, including 14 ADA compliant spaces, which exceeds the minimum requirement for parking for the proposed use. The applicant proposes landscape areas along the perimeter of the project site within parking areas and adjacent to walkways. Shade trees will be installed in medians and parking areas to provide natural shade for vehicles. Landscaping throughout the project site consists of primarily desert and other low to moderate water use plants. The proposed parcel subdivision is consistent with the general plan as it meets the regional commercial land use designation and the Unified Development Code regional commercial zoning designation. The proposed general plan amendment is in conformance with the goals, policies, and objectives of the City of Indio General Plan 2040. The zoning code is consistent with the general plan and is internally consistent with other applicable provisions of the code. TPM 38632 complies with the Subdivision Map Act. The approval of the planning review for the project is contingent upon the approval of the general plan amendment and zoning code. The project has completed initial study with a mitigated negative declaration in compliance with Section 15074 of the California Environmental Quality Act. With the application of relevant conditions of approval, the project can be approved, and conditions of approval are binding and must be adhered to. I'm available for any questions, and the applicant is also in attendance for questions as well.
Do we have any questions of staff before I open the public hearing? All right, thank you. We will open the public hearing at this time. This is the time set aside for any member of the audience wishing to address this body on the item to please make themselves known. There are request to speak forms in the back of the room. If you'd be so kind to fill one out and turn it into City Clerk, we would appreciate it. I do have one request to speak from Mr. Bruce Bauer. If he would come forward.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, City Manager, City Attorney, and City staff. And I want to clarify, I understand the agenda underwent a change in the numbering. The matter I'm speaking on tonight is only as to 14.1. Our office represents Indio Residents for Open Space, which is an association of Indio residents who are concerned about open space in the city. I will address item 14.1. There's two items. This item contains an enormous request by the applicant in connection with their proposed project. There are three big requests that are being made today by the applicant. One is to amend the city's recently amended general plan, i.e. the city's constitution. They want to amend the city's zoning to change existing zoning from open space to commercial. And finally, they want the city to make a finding that there's no need for a full environmental impact report and EIR in this matter. This enormous entitlement reach is all for a project that seeks to eliminate open space in the city in return for an island of fast food restaurants, 3 at the last count, in an area that is already flooded with fast food restaurants and threatens to upend and congest traffic in that area. Destruction of any open space in the city should not be allowed to stand without substantial justification, and certainly not in exchange for increased traffic and congestion and health risk to the city's residents. It is clear that the health risks do not square with the city's general plan, as I discussed at length in my letter. And because of that, the project should not be allowed. The general plan of the city is essentially the constitution of the city, and it's underwent a rigorous amendment recently. And that general plan should not be amended willy-nilly. Moreover, it should not be undertaken where, as here, amending it would run contrary to a goal stated in that general plan. The general plan has a stated policy that provides a policy on open space at PR 1.1. That policy provides that the city should preserve accessibility to open space and ensure that all areas designated as open space for public use remain accessible to users of all ages and abilities. The request by the applicant here runs squarely in contravention of that general plan policy. The general plan also has a health component to it that this applicant's request runs afoul of. The city's general plan discusses the fact that obesity is a critical public health problem for Indio. That is borne out by the fact that Indio residents are, as stated in the general plan, by and large more obese and overweight compared to the other residents in Riverside County in the state of California. And here the applicant is requesting to build an island of fast food restaurants in an area that is replete with fast food restaurants. And the general plan provides that the lack of open space is a part of the problem for the health problems that exist in the city. A limiting factor, and this is provided in the general plan, a limiting factor to physical activity levels is restricted access to public recreation and open space. This applicant seeks a major entitlement, a zoning amendment. However, zoning amendments here are not sought that are ordinarily sought in connection with approval of a project. Here, the applicant is seeking a major zoning amendment that fundamentally impacts the nature of the neighboring and availability of open space in the city. It is clear that a full environmental impact required here in light of the unusual circumstances presented by this applicant, and because, as discussed in my letter and here, the applicant is seeking an amendment to the city's general plan. And it's for that reason we request that you deny the request for 14.1, or at a minimum require a full-blown EIR project in this report in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Sadie, I thought it used to turn red for me when it timed out.
We'll have to look into that. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Snyder, I'm going to go ahead and listen to public comments, and then the applicant can come up, and that way he can address anything that needs to be addressed. Is that okay?
Mayor, obviously, as the facilitator of the meeting, that is, you're right. We just want to reinforce that the applicant and his team are here ready to present to the council when you're ready to hear from them.
Yes,
Thank you.
Let's see if there's anyone else that would like to speak. Do we have any other members of the audience? So, Mr. Snyder, can you grab that request to speak? Yes. Sarek Nigto, can you please, for the record, clarify your name?
Serik, S-E-R-I-K. Nieto, N-I-E-T-O.
Oh, Nieto. Okay.
Half of the members here on the council probably know me. You know, Glenn, Wayman, Oscar, Elaine, and Mrs. Lupe as mayor. So just touching base on 14.1. So 14.1 is located on Jackson and 42, right across the street from the Home Depot. My family has been here for a lot of years, since 1922. Okay, back in that time, that whole area was nothing but fruits and vegetables and what we consider produce from this valley, okay? The whole side of that North Indio, there's only one side that still remains fruits and vegetables, is on Monroe and 42, okay? We're taking away from what this Coachella Valley is, little by little. Indio was one of the main producers back in the early times before our time here in the city of Indio. We're losing our taste for Indio off the back. I wasn't supposed to be here at this meeting, but a lot of people told me, Sarek, you're involved. You need to be right there and address the council and address the city. Let me ask you one question. On that, 6.12 acres, do you know who owns that property off the back, council? You know who owns that property as we speak, before we address it and go forward in the general plan? Who owns it? Does the city own it? Does the contractor own it? Who owns that?
Sir, we're here to listen to you.
That's fine. Just want to make it aware, Lupe, because you've been on this council a very long time, okay? Very long time, okay? Just want to address who owns that property. We see stuff coming up left and right, Home Depot first, Winco, the new Hawaiian barbecue. We just lost our Target a couple years ago that I was very disappointed in, because why? I helped build that. Okay, I'm very disappointed in what's happening here. The council has to wake up. If you're born and raised here, you should know Indio. And what's happening here, we got a lot of money here. A lot of money, a lot. We're building my amphitheater, Wayman, that we put in the park recommendation on Miles. That's my idea. Okay. My idea. And if you look in the plans from the park, you'll see it right on the plans of the park, amphitheater, and it's there in black and white. All I got to say is, think about what's happening now before we wake up. Who owns that property? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Nieto. IT, can you come up and fix my computer, please? I have no more requests to speak on this item. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing no one step forward, I'm going to call up the applicant, and I know this is technical architectural letters. Is it Dan Andust? Ran? Omquist. Welcome. Dan Omquist, welcome.
Do you have the presentation that we... Okay, great. You just click it. Take your time.
You can go ahead and speak, sir. I don't need it.
We have a presentation that I was waiting to have come up.
Go ahead.
Far left. I think it's far left. Madam Mayor and members of the council, thank you for having me tonight. The first thing that I want to say is I am very grateful to be here. I'm grateful for all the time that City Manager Montgomery and his team have spent with our team. It's interesting that listening to Madam Mayor talk, I've been involved with this property since 2005. I was a junior guy with the gentleman at the time who put the project together and worked with Steve Copenhaver and Glenn Southard. And I spent a lot of time here. And it's been, Madam Mayor, you talk about 20 years. It's been almost 18 years now for me. And I've been through a number of partnerships. I've bought all the other partners out. I own the property now. I'm committed to seeing this through. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to come before you tonight with what I hope you think is a good project. So as was shown on Kendra's earlier PowerPoint presentation, this is the project that we're presenting before you tonight. There's 2 restaurant pads along Avenue 42, as was alluded to earlier and shown on the screen. One is a Chick-fil-A restaurant. One is a Dutch Brothers Coffee, both of which we think are best in class in their respective categories. There's a sit-down restaurant that's adjacent with a patio that opens up onto the golf course. And then there's a future pad on Jackson that we would look to develop at a future date. So in 2005, when we first became involved with the property, this was the boundary when we bought the property. And through workings with the city, it was decided that in order to have connectivity with the Home Depot project across the street, and then also to beautify Avenue 42, the maintenance yard was previously located on Avenue 42, that a land exchange would take place that would move the maintenance yard that was in the triangle piece on Avenue 42 to the back portion of the property. And then the city would have an easement off of 42 directly tied to the Home Depot project, and then we would grant an easement to the city on the back half of Jackson that leads into what is now the maintenance yard. And that took place in approximately 2010. This was a project that was previously approved through the City Council. It was approximately 77,000 square feet, 3 drive-through pads. You can see the golf course in which we're going to, the golf course parking lot that's going to be relocated. So it's 77,000 feet, 3 drive-through pads previously approved. Again, the project that we're bringing forth tonight, not including the AutoZone and the ARCO, is approximately 16,000 feet, so significantly less density, less coverage, but we think we have really good uses and the right plan for the property. The general plan right now for the property is general commercial. So I'd like to walk you through some of the inconsistencies and where the zoning map was changed in error. The general plan for this property is general commercial, and the general plan for the golf course parking lot is also general commercial. There was an exchange that was voted on recently where there were some remnant pieces that were open space, about 16,000 feet, that were going to be used for landscape and for city amenities. And then there was a piece for the city, as you can see in red, that was going to square off the golf course maintenance yard. So once that's completed, the open space is actually going to increase by about 60,000 feet. So the general plan, once this is voted on, hopefully approved, the general plan, the open space would not decrease. The open space actually goes up by about 60,000 feet. So now talking about the zoning, and Kevin or Kendra could talk to this in more detail than I can, but essentially in error, and it was inadvertent. I don't think there was anything, it was just done in error. A portion of our property was rezoned as open space last year. So this is how it exists today. Once again, the property was rezoned in error, and then the golf course maintenance yard is currently zoned for regional commercial. Again, the remnant pieces that are being discussed and were voted on for the exchange And essentially a like for like on the zoning where the entire golf course maintenance yard becomes open space, and then the front portion of the project goes back to regional commercial, which it was previously. One of the comments that came up at Planning Commission was making sure that we have proper stack given the popularity of these two tenants. We worked with a traffic consultant, and we worked with both tenants in the past. It was recommended for Chick-fil-A that they have a stacking capacity of 18. We've proposed 53. For Dutch Brothers, it was recommended that they have 9, and I think we proposed 23. So we really tried to make sure that there's no impacts, to the project, to the other tenants in the project, or, obviously, anything that would go out onto the street. It was talked about earlier, we're significantly over the recommended parking, again, trying to plan for the popularity of these two tenants. Again, I just want to really thank all of you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. We have our EIR, CEQA consultant here. We have our traffic consultant. Actually, the head of real estate for Chick-fil-A is also on Zoom and had a few things to say if he's in Atlanta right now, so if there's a way to get him on, that'd be fantastic. But more than anything, with total sincerity, I'm just grateful that you made the time to listen to our presentation, and I'm fully committed to seeing this through, and it's been 18 years, and I'm excited to hopefully finally have it happen, so thank you.
Mr. Alcless, did you mention what year your project was originally approved with the 3 drive-throughs?
I think it was stamped in 2008 and approved in about 2010 in front of, there was a couple iterations. Actually, the last time that I came in front of council was on the way to my wedding in Arizona. And I remember one of the councilmen telling us one of our buildings looked like a turret. So that was the last time I was here. Is there a way to allow Brent Rylick to speak from Chick-fil-A? He's on Zoom. Is he on right now? Brent, they've put you on Zoom if you're...
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Brent.
Again, so I just want to say good evening, Mayor and the members of council. My name's Brent Rylick, and I'm the Director of Real Estate for the West Region. And as what Dan was talking about, we have a long-standing relationship with he and his team, and they were actually the ones who really sold us on coming out to Indio, looking at the market, showing the vibrant activity of what's going on, specifically in the north part of the area. And we got really excited, not only about the community, but the specific development itself. We are working on several other deals in Coachella Valley, and we obviously wanted Indio to be part of this. And this was actually one deal that we were working on early on, right after our store opened up in Palm Desert. One of the biggest concerns we have right now are the number of deals that we currently are working on in the Coachella Valley, that if the deal wasn't approved, we'd want to see those other deals play out, be open for at least a year to see whether or not we could serve the city of Indio with those other restaurants. Now, obviously, that would not be ideal. We want to be part of the community, but that's kind of how our company works. So if I was trying to do the math when we were doing this, I mean, best case scenario, if this wasn't a project that we were going to be part of, it would be years before another opportunity that we would even start considering to look at it again. And so what I'm just asking is we want to be part of the community. We're very, very excited. We're really excited about the project. And if any of y'all have any questions, I'd be more happy to answer any.
Do we have any questions of the applicant?
No.
Mr. Furman?
No, I'd like to go back to the PowerPoint, just that last slide, so I could look at the traffic stack again.
Sure. You pull up the stack. It was the second to last slide in our presentation.
I think during your presentation, you mentioned you guys work with the traffic consultant, or?
Yes, and with both of the tenants as well.
Did you find that there would be any substantial impact to Avenue 44 or Jackson?
We did not.
Okay. And just to clarify, it's recommended that Chick-fil-A has 18, but you're providing 53?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the music. And the same for Dutch Brothers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's it, madam.
Thank you. Any other questions of the applicant? No? Well, thank you very much for this time, sir. We appreciate the presentation. Mr. Schneider, I just have a quick question. So I understood the explanation about the zoning error, but what exact parcel is it that's having a general plan amendment, or what piece?
So when we adopted the general plan 2040 in September 2019, we inadvertently extended that open space land use designation into property that is owned by Mr. Almquist's company. That was an inadvertent action on our part. Staff did not catch it. In fact, until Mr. Almquist came forward with his proposal, we did not identify that error. So that's our error, my error as the department head. Subsequently, we determined that both the general plan and the zoning would need to be modified to correct and be consistent with what the actual open space area is, which is the lights at Indio Municipal Golf Course, the associated maintenance yard, and the associated former maintenance yard property that is being discussed as for a future parking lot. So we're just trying to square up and make the lines correct that staff, through the adoption process and through our conversations with you, failed to identify at that time.
Okay, so this is a cleanup action, not necessarily a applicant initiated.
In fact, we offered to the applicant when he first came in that we would bring it forward as a housekeeping action because the error was identified. The applicant ultimately requested the opportunity to bring it forward all at one time. But had this application not come forward, we would eventually discovered that, and we brought it to you as a housekeeping action, no matter whether it was a development proposal or not.
Right, and regardless of this housekeeping action, the prior project approval allowed for the 3 drive-throughs from the inception of the project.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, so there's not really any changes. It's cleanup and maybe some site movement of things.
I think the only difference is obviously the square footage has gone down significantly. Originally, you were looking at almost 77,000 square feet. You're looking more in the range of about 13,500 square feet. So the scale of the project has reduced, appropriate, more likely to market conditions today, not of 2010.
Yes, thank you for that. Any other questions of staff before we close?
I have one.
Yes.
For the environmental impact report, is that because it was already approved with the prior approval?
So there was separate environmental documentation done at the time of the shops at the Green, but more recently, as part of this application processing, an initial study was conducted, and ultimately a mitigated negative declaration was issued. So a full environmental documentation for the project in front of you was done. The information, typically when you're looking at 10 to plus years on, that environmental documentation, the old environmental documentation, is suspect. So we brought forward to make sure that it took into account all the changes in the surrounding environment, whether it be air, noise, traffic. And so that's why a more current environmental documentation is done, and that's part of what's before you this evening to potentially certify the environmental assessment.
All right, seeing no further questions.
I have one more question.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if this is for maybe Kevin or the applicant. Would there being, 53 vehicles approved for a vehicle stack? I mean, with cars, if that was the case, that many cars idling, would that have an impact on the community?
So I think the council members are well aware that when these businesses open in other communities, typically there's an initial response from interested parties. There can be significant traffic visiting them, for a week or several weeks. And so as part of the Planning Commission process, we actually discussed this with the Planning Commission and identified and put in place a condition that a traffic management plan developed in consultation with our city engineering department and the police department would be required before opening to ensure that we minimize those impacts of those long lines of individuals who might be interested in frequenting it at the outset. Typically what happens is once that level of interest dies down, you get more normal traffic. As the applicant has indicated, they put in enhanced on-site queuing area so that to minimize the disruption to the public street system surrounding the property.
Yeah. And I do have a question for the applicant as well. Just
one other just operational is it's Chick-fil-A. They utilize handheld
that's what
iPads.
I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah, so they usually have at least 1 or 2 people that are working through, and it expedites. So it's obviously overboard, but in order to be sensitive to any mitigation, and that
is that the same for Dutch Brothers with the
yes.
operation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That concludes my question.
Okay, with that, I'll close the public comment period and entertain a motion.
I'll be happy to make that motion if we can get staff recommendation back up on the screen. Oh, it's right there. I was looking for it here. All right. I'd like to make a motion. It's recommended that the City Council approve resolution numbers 10405, number 10406, number 10407, and number 10409, and introduced for first reading ordinance number 1802, zoning ordinance amendment.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Council Member Holmes and a second by Council Member Ortiz. Please indicate your vote on the computerized system. The motion passes 4-1. Thank you all. Thank you. Congratulations to the applicant. Moving on to item number 14.2. Is that correct? Okay. Resolution number 10408. Text amendments to the RPD 5 conceptual plan, specific plan, and the Heritage Palms Retirement Community and Shopping Center project master plan located northeast and southeast of the intersection of Fred Waring Drive and Jefferson Street, allowing as a conditional land use drive-through restaurants and coffee shops and other similar food beverage businesses, and adopting the initial study and negative declaration, determining that the project will not have significant effects on the environment. Mr. Snyder.
Madam Mayor, I have to recuse myself on this. The city attorney can address it more, but it's my residence of property, but I'm far enough away from it to be able to, but it's a master plan, and the city attorney will inform you.
Okay, so we're going to take a brief moment so Mayor Pro Tem Miller can leave the room and city attorney will enter into the record.
Yes, Mayor. Although the Mayor Pro Tem's residence is not within 500 feet of the areas within the plan that are being changed here, the uses that we're contemplating, his residence is within the overall Heritage Palms plan, and so out of an abundance of caution, he is elected to recuse himself from this item.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council, good evening. For the record, Kevin Snyder, Director of Community Development. Unlike your last item, the item before you this evening is a policy item only. You're not being asked to consider any development review applications, but simply potential policy changes to a previously approved specific plan and project master plan, and I'll explain that in detail more in a moment, that if you were to grant the approval to the text amendments, would facilitate future land use entitlement actions for potential development of property within the boundaries of the specific plan and project master plan. So, okay, so the area we're talking about is what's commonly referred to as Heritage Palms. This is the area, large area, with about 1,300 homes, and in the center of that area is what's called the Heritage Court Neighborhood Shopping Center. So this area is east of Fred Waring and Jefferson intersection, and it's on the north and south side of Fred Waring. This area, if you've been there, you'll see it's anchored by the Walmart Neighborhood Center and various other retail and service businesses. So, let's see if I can get this. There we go. As mentioned before, this is a request for text amendments to previously approved specific plan and project master plan. These plans were approved by the council, and this project goes back a ways. So the specific plan for Heritage Palms was originally approved in 1994. And then through various iterations, ultimately a project master plan, which is not something we do anymore, but back in 2003 we did that. It was a form of kind of refined master planning of property. And so in that instance, the council approved a project master plan for the Heritage Court Neighborhood Shopping Center. And that approved up to 125,000 square feet of commercial, retail, and service businesses within the 11-acre parcel that comprises the Heritage Court Shopping Center. And so over time, the Heritage Court Shopping Center has built out. In fact, there's only one parcel left, and that parcel is at the very northwest corner of February and Jefferson. And you've probably seen it if you've noticed the new Indio sign that's gone up at that corner. It's the vacant dirt right behind it. So in June of this year, the ownership group, CIP Indio LLC, requested consideration by the city of changes to the specific plan and project master plan that would allow for the consideration of drive-through restaurant uses that would facilitate potential development of that corner piece. Now, I won't speak for the applicant, they can speak for themselves, but that property has remained undeveloped since 2003, and they will probably share with you why they believe that's been a market response to that lack of drive-through allowances at that corner. So we reviewed this for compliance with applicable city regulations, and we found it to be compliant with the general plan, and the policies and goals are listed there. We also found it to be compliant with the Unified Development Code. We also found it to be compliant with the California Environmental Quality Act, and there was, again, an initial study that was performed for this with appropriate documentation, and ultimately a negative declaration was issued or was identified by myself and confirmed by your Planning Commission. And there are some limited conditions of approval that we are recommending, and those are contained in the Resolution 10408, and they really pertain to making sure that if the council does choose to approve this, that appropriate land use entitlements are obtained and appropriate following of adopted building codes and fire codes are achieved. So your Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on November 8th. This was a notice public hearing. We did extraordinary noticing. We did approximately 1,300 feet on all sides because we wanted to make sure that there was a large area of houses around this and other interested parties. We extended across Jefferson into the city of La Quinta. So we tried to make sure that the public was aware of this request. The Planning Commission held a public hearing. They received testimony from the applicant and one resident of Heritage Palms who was concerned about the drive-throughs but did not state outright opposition. So ultimately, at the end of the public hearing, your commission voted 3-0 to recommend your consideration of approving the requested text amendments. So with that, staff is recommending that you approve Resolution 10408. Representatives for the applicant are in attendance this evening and can answer any questions for you, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and thank you.
Do we have any questions of staff at this time? Then I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. We do have a request to speak from the applicant, Mr. Rob Bernheimer.
Good evening and happy birthday, Madam Mayor, and good evening, council members and staff. Rob Bernheimer on behalf of the applicant. We have the Vice President of the applicant, Mark, with us, as well as Nicole Christ, who did the environmental work, and we're here to answer any questions. Don't have a formal presentation. If you have questions, we can answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll let you know at this time we do not have any questions. I do not have any requests to speak at this time. If there are any members of the audience who wish to address this matter, please make themselves known by filling out a request to speak form in the back of the room and submitting it to our city clerk. Seeing no one step forward and having no questions from the body, we will close the public hearing. And just as a matter of record, we did receive some public comment on this item that has been entered into the record via email. So those will be available when the public document is published. With that, if there's, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 10408, conditionally approving text amendments to the RPD5 Conceptual Specific Plan and the Heritage Palms Retirement Community and Shopping Center Project Master Plan located northeast and southeast of the intersection of Fred Warren Drive and Jefferson Street, allowing a conditional land use drive-through restaurants, coffee shops, and other similar food and beverage businesses, and adopting the initial study and negative declarations determining the project will not have significant effects on the environment.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Furman, a second by Councilmember Ortiz. Is there? No, we haven't voted. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please enter your vote. Motion passes 4-0-1 with the recusal from Mayor Pro Tem Miller. Thank you. That concludes our public items for this evening. We will now move on to item 15, public comments for items not on the agenda. This part of our agenda is limited to 30 minutes with 3 minutes for each speaker. Please keep that in mind. We have many requests to speak, but not everyone will be called this evening. Our first request to speak, Heather Cosin.
Yes. Hello. First, thank you so much for letting me speak. I don't public speak. I've never been to one of these meetings, but I'm here because of a very important issue. I'm Jewish, and right after October 7th, within a few days of the attack, I went to Israel to deliver humanitarian aid for so many Jewish people who suffered, who were in the hospital. It was absolutely horrific. I work side by side, both Jews and non-Jews, just Christians, Armenians, just people who really cared about people. And things that I saw, that I witnessed with my own eyes, I can't unsee. And I'm so afraid for what's going to happen in America, what's going to happen with our children, what's going to happen with me. I don't feel safe in the Coachella Valley. I used to feel safe. I don't feel safe here anymore. All over the big cities, they're suffering from anti-Semitism. Last Friday, I was in New York. I brought my grandson to school. Right there in New York City, right in front of the Jewish day school, the Palestinian cars just driving by with their flags. It's very haunting. It's very scary. It's you're a mother delivering your kids. You don't know if there's going to be attack. And I'm here today because I want to be assured that the Jewish people of the Coachella Valley are going to be safe. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out this evening. Our next request to speak, Mr. David Sickman.
With permission from the presiding officer, I'd like to address members individually, if that's okay. I know that was part of the rules of decorum.
The rules of the body are that you address the body, please.
No problem. I'm David Sickman. I live here in the Coachella Valley, and I am Jewish as well. And I want to thank the Indio City Council, obviously, for allowing the opportunity to speak today. 2 months ago, on October 6th, I apologize, from today, 7,600 miles from here, from the city of India, the people of Israel and Gaza were going about their lives. 2 months ago from tomorrow, from December 7th, 2 months ago, on October 7th, over 3,000 Hamas terrorists illegally crossed from Gaza into the sovereign country of Israel and brutally slaughtered over 1,200 innocent babies, toddlers, teenagers, men, women, elderly, and disabled, and took over 240 innocent babies, toddlers, men, women, elderly, and disabled into captivity underground in Gaza, no matter their nationality or religion. They're not in dispute, these incidents, because the terrorists themselves documented their barbaric actions and streamed their murders live, and several even called their parents, informing them of the joy they had in killing Jews. On October 18th, 11 days after this massacre, the mayor of Indio went on television in City Hall defending the actions of Hamas and delivering foreign policy recommendations. I would like to know from the members of the Indio City Council if you agree with, at the time, Mayor Ortiz's support of Hamas's murdering of innocent people on October 7th, which was the greatest number of Jewish deaths since the Holocaust. A simple yes or no is fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sickman. We're only here to listen today.
Thank you. And then since October 7th, positions similar to Mayor Ortiz at the time have generated an increase in hate towards the Jewish people across the United States, on our college campuses, and as we saw testimony in Congress today from the three leading Ivy League schools, our leading universities are becoming a very unsafe place for the Jewish people. Are you willing, Council of Indio and council members, to take a stand against anti-Semitism? A yes or no? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sickman. I'll let City Attorney respond.
So the purpose of the public comments for items on the agenda is to hear comments from the public. It's not to engage in a back and forth with members of the public on non-agendized items, Mayor. So I'd recommend calling the next speaker.
Pardon me?
The purpose of public comment for items not on the agenda is to hear comments from members of the public. It's not to engage in a back and forth with those members. So my recommendation would be to, having heard those comments, to call the next speaker that you have.
Thank you. Mr. Jose Parra.
Good night. Jose Parra, this is Promo VIP, the Jaripeos Bailes in Indio, in Davis Sport Complex, in November 12th. And Noemi is my assistant.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank the City of Indio for giving us the opportunity to do the Jaripeo dance last November 12th at the Davis Sport Complex. Promo VIP is a family company that believes that culture and traditions are an important part of the identity of a country and its people. Our goal is to unite families through traditions and culture and keep away from young people from bad decisions. Attending family events such as Jaripeo helps people connect with their roots and values. Our purpose is to contribute to the economy of the families of the Coachella Valley. To perform a Jaripeo dance, we work on 13 Promo VIP staff families who live in Indio, California, 20 private security people from the Coachella Valley, 3 local food truck owners, a local ice factory, and 2 horse trainers. We also hire the services of some local companies, for example, Magaña Growers Nursery, Tubs and Barricades, Hallmark Beers, CSI Security, Bird Peak Electric, Desert Portable Services, 2 local musical groups, Guerrero Party Rental, radio and television station, A+ Printing, recycling of cardboard and plastic bottles, 15 local digital influencers, Folkloric Bat and Ballet to the Oaxaca, Bull Riders, and finally, Bull Ranchers. Other businesses that benefited were hotels, restaurants, and gas stations, where the artists, horsemen, and the company that broadcast the event live through PPV, and people who come from outside to the event consume these services. The event took place with the incident and in complete order and safely. It had a total of 570 people attended. The facilities were delivered clean and undamaged. Our respectful request that we have today is that they allow us to work 3 more events in the park, January, February, and March. During these 3 months, we will be able to have the time to find a place to continue with the Jaripeos, since we feel committed to the families of the Coachella Valley culturally and also economically. Thank you very much for your attention. Promo VIP.
Thank you for your comments. City Manager, do you want to give them some contact information so that they can?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Our next request to speak, Mr. Ramiro Estrada, team coach.
Mayor, can I get 30 seconds to swap our timer? 30 seconds. You can come up. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
How's everyone doing? Good. I'll try to make this as quick as possible for everybody. But yes, I did have to write it down. So bear with me. All right. So, hi, my name is Ramiro Estrada, and I coach and represent the ZT Baseball 12U team for the city of Indio, which half of them are here. One of them probably in the bathroom, but here they are. So I got 3 of them or 4 of them that are home sick with RSP or RSV, respiratory virus that's going around. But just to tell you a little bit about ourselves, baseball has always been a huge part of my life since I was a little boy playing at Davis and Indio. I also raised my son playing ball in Indio, which is now with the San Diego Padres. And now I feel extremely blessed and humbled to be given the chance to coach these young athletes and assist them in reaching their own goals. But we know it's a tough road. Our goal as coaches, so I got our other 2 coaches there. Our goal as coaches is to empower players with the tools they need to become their best, achieve their goals, remain humble, and never quit. We believe development is primary. We build players from the ground up, starting with fundamental basics as the foundation. We believe each player has a unique way of understanding and applying the training. As coaches, it's our job to provide them with multiple approaches and opportunities for them to best achieve their success. We don't shy away from any opportunities. We compete, succeed, and fail in order to build the individual's confidence and mental toughness required for success at the highest level of play. We strive to build the complete ball player. We achieve this through repetitive, structured, and timed practices, individual private lessons, and small group training sessions. We provide opportunities to train year-round with a heavy emphasis on proper arm care and player sustainability. So we have a huge trip that we're planning to New York. We play a high level of baseball, over 100 teams, and it's a very high expense. So obviously, my heart's with Indio. Our heart is with Indio. That's who we represent, and we're hoping that you can help us with our fundraising. So, and I do have a couple of my players that are eager to make a statement. They want to speak. So I'll start with Leo. He's our first guy that's here in line. Go ahead, Leo.
Hi, my name is Leo Hashimoto, and my teammates and I play for a nonprofit baseball program named ZT located in the city of Indio. We work very, very hard, and we have an opportunity to represent our city in the state of New York for the Cooperstown National Baseball Tournament. I know you get asked for funding all the time, but we have an opportunity to show off our great city and inspire other kids to pursue their dreams. Can I get a commitment for a donation from any of you guys today? Thank you for your time.
Jara? Go ahead. You go, Jara. Let's go. You need a stool?
No.
All right, let's go.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Jair Estrada, and I play for ZT Baseball. I am blessed to have such a good group of kids on my team. I am so thankful for the 3 coaches on my side. They always have my back, and I always have their back. We lose as a team, and we win as a team. We never quit on each other, and we will always pump each other up if we make an error. We keep a positive attitude. We don't bicker each other, and we always keep each other accountable. We all have a dream of making it to the big leagues one day, so that's why we give it 110% in the classroom and on the field. School is more important than baseball in my house. I was just awarded high honor roll. That means I got a 4.0 GPA. I am so thankful for my dad, Ramiro Estrada, who actually grew up here. I would not be where I am right now, education-wise and baseball-wise, without him. He coached my brother until he was drafted by the Chicago Cubs in 2017. My dad was able to turn my brother into a Major League Baseball player, so there is no doubt in my mind that I can become one too. I am very thankful for my mom. My mom helps me with my homework when I don't understand it, when my dad has to work. But, sorry. My mom would have to drive my brother and I to turn inside of town. One time my mom had drive my brother and I to Arizona because we had a tournament. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, so I would always appreciate her taking care of me, even though I was a bit of a knucklehead. I am a Christian, so I have faith in my Savior, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We pray before each game, asking God to keep us safe. Proverbs 16:3, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plan will succeed. So my plan will succeed. Thank you.
Go ahead, Tommy. Tommy Bannon.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Tommy Bannon, and my dream has always been to make it to the Major League Baseball leagues, or just to the major leagues. And I always try to be a leader on my team and hold each other accountable. And I hope other players on our team do too. So thank you.
Go ahead, quick. You only got a few seconds. Xavier Udinarith.
Hello, my name is Xavier Udinarith. I'm a 6th grader at Desert Ridge Academy, and I am intending to go to Shadow Hills High School. I want to thank you for this opportunity. This will help our fundraising to our Go to Cooperstown tournament and our baseball season. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you also for Mr. Enrique Tira, who set this up for us, and thank you all for all your hard work.
Yeah, that's your first donation.
Can follow you. Come on. Yeah, do the thing for the kids.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. It means a lot.
And city manager is going to let you know how to apply for money, okay?
Say that again?
City manager will let you know how to apply for funds.
Okay.
If you give me your number, I'll
Yeah.
give you a check also.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you, kids. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck. Thank you. Good night. Okay, so the remainder of the speakers are from AYSO. We're going to call up 6 speakers randomly, but if your comments have already been expressed by your coach here, then please pass your time to somebody else who wants to say something different or new, okay? So the first one is Eddie Fajardo.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to have us and hear our opinions and our thoughts. I missed this last guy, but I would definitely like to get the application for how we get funds for our program so that we can help offset some of the costs that Desert Recreation District is now imposing on us that historically were not part of the program. It's come to my attention possibly that your guys' current contract with DRD may not have actually been completely understood and completely read through. And I think that's what's causing some of the confusion now with our organization. I've been part of AYSO since I was 6 years old. I played, I'm back to coach. I want to have a positive impact. And we collectively, I think as a group, are all trying to do the same, especially for our more talented players who are looking for an opportunity to grow and are looking for positive experiences that come with a higher competitive level in sports and in athletics. I would imagine that some of you, and I know at least one of you, has played in more competitive athletics. And as you know, it is not inexpensive. It is very expensive to play in these leagues and to continue to grow and show your own skill and showcase your own skill. All of these players that you see here and many more all represent this city with their hearts and with their desires and their dreams. And what it seems to me is we may be taking that away from some of these kids who cannot afford to pay for the new costs that are being imposed. My hope from you guys is that you guys can show us support. The city manager, Mr. City Manager, has recommended that we go to the DRD, Board of Governors, or whatever meetings that they have. And that is a great suggestion. I think that's a great place and a great arena and forum for us to also air out our grievances. I can't imagine that we would have any better support system than to have it from all of you guys, not just one, but I think you guys should all be there since you guys all signed that contract, or we're all part of making that decision. That's what we ask of you guys. At least that's what I ask of you guys, is to come and support the youth as they have supported you, and their parents and their families support you. Thank you for you guys' time. I appreciate it. I'm going to finish with, please be bold and do the right thing for these kids. Thank you, guys.
Our next request to speak, Ms. Ana Briceño.
Good evening, council members. My name is Ana Briceño, Indio resident and high school teacher. My son plays AYSO. I'm here tonight to speak as a parent and community member. On behalf of all the parents that could not be here tonight, I want to raise awareness of the great program that all the volunteers from AYSO Indio have done. I, too, would like to respectfully ask you that you reconsider your decision of placing the program under the rec center management, as the additional maintenance fees will directly impact our most financially needy families. This decision will force AYSO Indio to increase registration fees, which will keep our at-risk youth from joining our program, thereby affecting our local community. As you know, being in sports has a direct correlation with kids' academic achievement and prosperous communities. Please take our community's future into consideration. We accommodate and host people from around the world through various events. Please, let's give back to our local children. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next request to speak, Ms. Yesenia Spinks.
Good evening. I'm just going to go ahead and read. I submitted a letter for the council to review. So I'm just going to go ahead and read that so I can stay on track. Well, good evening, council members and Mayor Lupe. As a Indio resident, local high school teacher, born and raised Valley Rat, however you want to say, I am very thankful to be here before you. My heart is in this valley. My heart's for the city, and here I am to represent our AYSO association. I apologize. So let me just read. So I recently discovered that the city of Indio has allowed the Desert Recreation Center to maintain the South Jackson Soccer Park. As a result, the Desert Recreation Center is beginning to charge for utilities, park maintenance, and overall field use. As a lifelong resident and now raising my children here in the city of Indio, this is an inconvenience to the families of Indio. Up to this point, the AYSO Soccer League has been exempt from any charges for using the Indio soccer field, as parks tend to be maintained given the city tax fees. South Jackson Park is an outlet for many of our children and families, as it provides an opportunity to gather with other residents of Indio while enjoying the sport of soccer. Many residents try to expose their children to a sport that not only supports a child's physical and mental health, but also exposes them to the culture of soccer and many times or opportunities to our family roots. Soccer does not discriminate. Families from all backgrounds gather to cheer their children on. Indio has promoted and established a community of family, and as parents, we appreciate the opportunities provided to us to raise our children here. As a lifelong resident of Indio As I shared before, a teacher, a mother, and a family advocate, I would like the City Council to reflect on the hindrance that the additional costs will be to the AYSO families, as it is my understanding that this fee of $15,000 will be the AYSO's responsibility to pay, which as a result will increase our season fees. The average Indio household makes less than the average working families in America. However, AYSO provides an excellent opportunity to keep their children engaged and active in search of opportunities for future scholarships, careers, physical health, mental health, social exposure, community building, and so much more. I want to add that an athlete also scores or performs best in school and is most likely to graduate as well. Increasing the fees would be a burden, especially for families with many children, single-parent households, and minimum wage workers. We request the city's support and look forward to the city's council understanding of the importance of exempting AYSO from the $15,000 maintenance fees, which have just been implemented or suggested, which as a result helps us maintain affordable programs that give our children equitable opportunities. Thank you.
Our next request to speak is Mr. Hector Diaz.
Good evening. First of all, I want to say thank you for your time tonight. My name's Hector Diaz. I'm a 31-year-old business manager. I manage a major retail business here in Indio. I was raised here, and I'm currently raising my 3 boys here as well. As a parent, sometimes we come across many challenges. We make decisions hoping that we're doing the right thing for our kids. Joining AYSO soccer, signing my kids up, that's been one of the best decisions I made so far. South Jackson Park's a great environment for my kids. It allows them to create strong bonds with others that have similar interests and guides them to make good decisions outside of the park as well. The reason I stand here is to hopefully give you a little bit more understanding of what AYSO is. I want to review our mission statement and our 6 philosophies. So let's see. So like Angel said, AYSO has ties with Indio. We've been in Indio since 1991. Since then, there's been a lot of changes, but the mission statement has remained the same. So that would be the mission statement is to develop and deliver quality youth soccer programs throughout the country, which promote a fun family environment built on the foundation of our 6 philosophies. Part of the success of AYSO here in Indio is that all of our volunteers, including the coaches, the referees, and the board members, we're all dedicated to make the mission statement a reality. Also, we utilize the 6 philosophies to guide our actions on the field while we coach, referee, and mentor the players. The 6 philosophies are the following. The first one's everybody plays. Our region's goal is for kids to play soccer, so we mandate that every child and every team must play at least half of every game. Balanced teams. Each year, we form teams as evenly as possible because it is fair and more fun when teams of equal ability play. Open registration. Our program is open to all children between the ages of 4 and 18 who want to register and play soccer. Interest and enthusiasm are the only criteria for playing. Positive coaching. Encouragement of player effort provides for greater enjoyment by the players and ultimately lead to better skilled and better motivated players. And last but not least, good sportsmanship. We strive to create a safe, fair, fun, and positive environment based on mutual respect rather than a win-at-all-cost attitude. And our program is designed to instill good sportsmanship in every facet of AYSO. Just quickly to
Mr. Anthony McDermott, Please keep your eye on the timer. There is a time limit so that we can get as many people to have a chance to share.
Come on, come on. Good evening, everybody. How you guys doing? Even though you guys don't have a choice for being here, I appreciate you guys listening to what we have to say. All of us in this room are here because we love this community and we want to see it thrive. So I know I'm not supposed to speak to any one person, so I'll just say one of you guys came to my house a couple years back and asked for my vote. You gave me a pamphlet of promises. You talked to me. You gave me your elevator pitch. And honestly, I take voting seriously, so I was embarrassed to realize that I wasn't sure if I had voted for you the previous time. So I spent the rest of the afternoon researching your record as a community activist. I spent the rest of the afternoon looking at interviews that you had done and appearances that you made. Even though I didn't agree with every position you have, I was confident enough in what I saw that I voted for you. So I'm admitting my mistake in not knowing enough about you in hopes that you guys and the rest of the council would do the same thing for us. We're not asking for a lot, we're just asking for the promise that was made to us. To have that field for AYSO, only AYSO, and let these kids grow into good soccer players. We're just asking to be able to continue providing Indio's best youth soccer players an affordable option to take their skills to the next level and represent Indio when we go to these out-of-town tournaments and show them that we're more than just festivals and golf courses. I'm speaking directly to one of you, but I know all of you, because the district I live in, the district I work in, and the park that we are fighting for is your district. So you, among all these people, have the most power to make that difference. So that's what we're asking for. With all the revenue generated from our festivals and the surplus generated by Measure X that was passed in 2016, it's ridiculous that we as a nonprofit are going to be charged extra to use the park that was built exclusively for AYSO, especially since the latest yearly budget is projecting a $13.5 million surplus. That'll pay for the park for about 500 years. From our regular season to our regular season core teams, all the way to our Indio Alliance teams, all the refs, all the coaches are volunteers. We don't get paid, so that money is going to come out of our pockets and the pockets of the other players' families. Money that would normally be used to buy cleats, equipment, travel expenses, and other essentials. Again, we aren't asking for stadium seating. We aren't asking for artificial turf. We're just asking you to take a moment to reevaluate and amend this decision that will negatively affect hundreds of families. Please don't do it for me. Don't do it for this ugly mug. Don't do it for Angel. Don't do it for the coaches. Do it for the people that we do it for, these kids right here. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more speaker, Mr. Ricardo Briseño.
Good evening, Councilman and Ms. Ramos. I'm not sure if you recall. Okay, so as you guys know, and Ms. Contishwan mentioned that I was part of what started this soccer complex. And it's very disappointing to hear that it's been sent over to DRD to take over and raise the costs for everybody. I strongly believe that every park in the city of Indio should be free of use to all of its taxpayers, okay? It's disappointing, like he said, to see members that I voted for allow something like that to happen that would increase the payments of our kids here. As you might know, the majority of the participants in soccer alone, come from low-income families. And you could do your own study. I was part of it. When I grew up, I couldn't afford to play baseball. I couldn't afford to play football, Mr. Berman, as you know. I know him very well, because it was costly. AYSO has not increased their prices in a very, very long time. And if they increase, it's that all the monies that come go back to our children. They don't go to pay for our volunteers. That doesn't exist here. And it's one of those that, as many of them have said, and thank you, Mr. Montgomery, for bringing it up, that DRD has a so-called, entitlement to the recreation parks. I just want to know that if that is the case, then I'm going to be requesting the city to help us and get a graduated pay scale to assist with this extreme cost that just came upon us. I had no children when I first started this, and I first asked for these parks because I volunteered. My uncle Luciano Briseño, who also was the main guy for these soccer parks, that I told him, get your butt out here, right? Because, oh, there he is. There you go. Project X is what brought the funding, and we came here in front of Mr. Miller, Ms. Ramos, to say, hey, we need this soccer complex. We were the only city in the deserts not to have a soccer complex. Palm Desert, Coachella, La Quinta, one of the biggest cities in Indio, not to have a soccer complex. So we came here with many kids. At that time, it was only 400 to 500 kids. We built the park, and we told you they will come. We're here. And now you have our taxpayers that voted for some of you there on top to be reminded of what we could do. And we're asking for your support to get this situation situated. We beg of you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you to all the families and the children that stayed up late to make your wishes known. City Manager, has this organization applied for any of our quarterly grants?
I am not aware of that.
Okay, so maybe the first thing they need to know is that we give away money every 4 months?
Yes, quarterly.
Or every 3 months? Every 3 months?
Quarterly, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, and city managers arranged to facilitate a discussion to see if we can't find some resolve for the organization.
Absolutely.
And our final request to speak comes from Mr. Alfredo Mesa.
Sorry, Lupi, I was gonna keep my mouth shut, but I just needed to say something. You know, did you guys ever see you tax roll? Recreation Center. This year, I paid them $2,700 in all my properties for Recreation Center. So why are we charging these people for lighting, for water and that? When Recreation Center we pay them. Remember, they put it for a board and they passed that board to make us pay for that Recreation Center. One of the country club was against it, and they still made them pay. So, you know, it's kind of ridiculous when we come to it and the kids, on top of what we pay for property taxes and what we pay for Measure A, for all the taxes, the sales tax and everything we pay Recreation Center and we charging them? That's kind of ridiculous. Another thing, we're going when you were young, Lupe, and when I was young, when you were about 18. You remember you, Tio, and everybody else, we used to play soccer in the Indio Park. One time we come and ask for permission. A week later, they go and make holes and plant trees because they didn't want us Mexicans playing in the goddamn park. And you know that. I not put anything out. We used to play, all the families used to play soccer there. So you know, we pay for the Recreation Center, we pay the taxes on it, and on top of that, they gotta pay to go play in the park that we pay taxes to keep. That's a little bit out of the question, especially for the kids. But thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. That would conclude our public comment period. Ms. Holmes?
I think we had a couple of comments to make before the close of the meeting, if that's okay with you.
Of course.
I really wanted to respond to Mr. Sickman, and I really wanted to make a comment overall as well. I know it's not usually in the purview of the City Council to discuss foreign affairs. In fact, it's just not done. But the atrocities of October 7th are just a little too much for me to just pass over, especially in light of some of the recent comments. I would like to see us consider an anti-Semitic or an anti-discrimination resolution. I know that there have been in the past. I know that it's part of our belief system here at the City of Indio. It's really woven into everything we say and do, but I think as a public statement, I think I'd like to see us, or I'd like to ask my fellow council members if they would consider an anti-discrimination or anti-Semitism resolution.
Yeah, and I concur with that. I think that we need to set that anti-Semitism is not accepted in the city of Indio, or discrimination of any kind. And I think we need to set the tone on that. I think it's been brought out that we possibly could have that setting, and I can tell you this city, this council is firmly behind individuals here and their rights to do what they need to do and be able to support them at any time. So I concur with that. And City Manager, if we could also look at maybe possibly, I know we can't do anything here now, but look at bringing that forward, I would appreciate it.
I think that I'll let Mr. Ortiz speak and then I'll answer.
Sure. You know, I would be in support of that as well. And also, you know, I met with David Siegman. I met with the CEO of the Jewish Federation as well, with David Siegman as well. I also met with the Islamic Center, and I heard their concerns as well. And, you know, that their mosque has been attacked twice already. People have tried to burn it down, so I would also like to include, do an anti-discrimination in general, right, and include them as well, because I think they have also faced some dangers here in our community. And so if it's anti-discrimination in general, or is it anti-Semitism exclusively? So I just want to clear that up.
You know, and I think that's subject to conversation. You know, we have a community, a very diverse community, and it's a community that I'm very partial to, that I love, and we need to support everyone in this community. But to hear things like there's a 300% increase in hate crimes, not necessarily here, but across the board, is absolutely unacceptable to me at every level.
Councilmember Furman, if it's okay with you, we'll bring forward an anti-discrimination.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, and I think I speak for this whole council. We denounce any form of hate, anti-Semitism, discrimination against any race, culture, religion, or gender. What happened October 7th was tragic and shouldn't have happened. And we do stand with the Jewish community, but we stand with every community that becomes a victim to acts of terrorists, regardless of race, culture, religion. So I do support that, and I pray that we could come to a peaceful resolution in the Middle East, because it does affect what goes on in our country. There's families and people who are kidnapped, who are still hostages, and it's terrible. But it's still terrible what's going on now. We have families, we have children. War's ugly. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see any conflict. However, right now, as we sit on this dais, we represent the people of Indio. And that has to be on the forefront of things. At the same time, when I have Jewish folks, Palestinians, Islamic, Christians who live in our city, I want to make sure they feel safe and they feel wanted. What I heard earlier was very sad, that somebody's in our city right now and they do not feel safe. So I want everybody to feel safe. And just to reiterate, we denounce any type of anti-Semitism or discrimination against anyone.
Thank you. And as Councilmember Holmes mentioned, it's been a long-standing policy for us to take that position. So I think this is good timing for us to reaffirm to our community that we are here for them. And so if City Attorney would work with staff to figure out how we can have something, thank you. We would appreciate it. With that, if there's no further comments or no further business, we will adjourn. Do we have any more meetings?
Yes,
December
the 20th.
20th. Okay, right before Christmas. We'll see you all then. Thank you.